Good morning, good afternoon, or hey, maybe even good evening, wherever you are in this lovely world today. My name is Dominic Nicastro. I will be the moderator for this. I'm the managing editor of CMS Wire, who's hosting this webinar alongside sponsor Adobe, Empowering E-commerce, Harnessing AI for Next Level Marketing Strategies. Apologies for the Boston accent. That's actually marketing strategies, not marketing. All right, let's move on. This is what the show is going to be about today. We're in the middle of the introduction. It's not going to be 5 minutes. We won't go that long. We want to get into the meat of the show. Presentation going to be about, in that range as well. That'll be the meat of the show there. And then we'll save some questions for you. You can use that Q&A module on the left side of the browser to ask questions during the webinar. Use that. We'll get them situated. You can also use the audience chat too. So if you have something on your mind that's not quite a question or a comment, an observation, take advantage of that audience chat. I believe it's on your left-hand side there, and we will be monitoring that conversation as well. So a little bit about us. I've been with CMS Wire 10 years as of next January 1st. Congratulations to me. But the company's been in existence since 2003. Just doing a lot of fun stuff with digital experience, content, e-commerce. Of course, this is why this is a great webinar for us, for sure. And we are happy to be partnering again with our today's sponsor, Adobe. I kind of heard of Adobe once or twice before in my coverage for CMS Wire. So it's good to connect with Adobe once again. And that's just a fancier slide giving you the title of our show again. So there you go. It looks nice and pretty, better than the CMS Wire version. And you're going to meet our speakers in just 1 second. There they are, the people you're seeing on your screen there. We have a wonderful panel today for the discussion. We're going to go with Melissa Sturtzel today, Director of Customer Success and Professional Services. Corey Gelato, Senior Commerce Strategy Consultant. Let's give you a little bit more background on these two folks. Melissa, she's been doing this for over 16 years. She has experience in email, digital, and print marketing. Print marketing, too, is still a thing for sure. I just did a USPS story on cmswire.com where they're encouraging snail mail marketing. So shocking, but still, it's happening. Her diverse experience gives us a unique perspective on the challenges and opportunities facing marketers today. And she's going to talk all about her experiences with Dotdigital, her company, where she's the Director of Customer Success and Professional Services. Corey, the Adobe rep today. Corey's a seasoned e-commerce expert, 17 years of experience. We're right in the same experience land, guys, because journalism-wise, I'm like 20, 25. So I got you by a little bit there. But, through his career, Corey's honed in his expertise as a strategic advisor, valuable insights to a diverse range of businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises, Fortune 500. So he's all over the map there. So the Senior Commerce Strategy Consultant at Adobe puts him right at the forefront of guiding merchants towards sustained growth and success. So what I want to do now is put the onus on you guys. We want to know a little bit more about our audience today. So go ahead and check out that little pop-up question we have for you today. And we'd like to know, where you are sort of on this roadmap, where you're seeing, gains. Are you at the very beginning for your e-commerce business? Is it currently leveraging AI technology? Where is it on the map? So kind of while we're waiting for results to trickle in, there they are. Look at that. So we are landing guys in the no, but considering. So that's a good thing to know, right, Melissa?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Kind of moving, though. It's moving. The goalpost is moving.
Early adopters versus.
Yeah. While we're waiting for the final thing, Corey, quick comment. Where do you think we'll see most people, if I could put you on the spot with a prediction?
Yeah, no worries. I think for the most case, AI is just a really big buzzword right now for a lot of people, right? Even though it's not new, but I do think where we're going to kind of land is we'll probably land in like the yes, but a little bit, and no, but considering. And I love the not sure where to start. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today, so I'm excited about this. This survey alone is fantastic to open up right now.
Yeah, I heard the same thing about AI going to a recent conference. It's still investigating, even though it's happy birthday to ChatGPT. One year. Even 1 year later, there's marketers where I got feedback from still in that exploratory phase. So These numbers are not surprising. And actually the winner there is yes, but very immature. So just slightly above the no, but considering. So a huge chunk of our audience are either doing it, but slowly, or they're not doing it, but they're pretty close to getting in there. So that's great to know. All right, so let's get into the convo, the meat of the show. So we're going to talk about AI's role in personalization at scale. So our panel, let's open things up. Let's start with Corey. Corey, the role of AI in enhancing CX is undeniable, obviously. We've seen it at CMS Wire too, but it's also crucial to ensure that personalization efforts remain relevant and appealing to customers, AI or not. So how can e-commerce businesses, you think, use like AI-driven customer data to create meaningful, authentic, personalized experience? And it's kind of like, what are the best practices for continuously adapting to the changing customer preferences, behaviors, so many changes day to day?
Yeah, thanks, Dom. I appreciate that. And I just want to say thanks, everybody, for joining today. I know, especially this week, Cyber Week, right? How dare us do this? But, I think it's a good opportunity. You're starting to look at next year. So this is a fantastic question. And honestly, this is what I get a lot of merchants that I speak with. They ask this question. They're often thinking about this. AI-driven customer data serves as a powerful tool for e-commerce businesses to craft personalized experiences that resonate authentically with individual customers. Leveraging this type of data involves a multifaceted approach, though. So really, firstly, businesses can harness AI algorithms to analyze diverse customer data sets, including browsing history, purchase behaviors, let's see, anything with like interactions, to identify patterns and preferences. Utilizing these enhanced customer engagement, really in these insights. Furthermore, dynamic pricing strategies based on predictive analytics enable businesses to adapt prices in real time, catering to changing customer behaviors, as well as remaining competitive. Best practices for continuous adaptation in this dynamic environment encompasses agile learning methodologies and models. So that might involve like regular A/B testing to refine strategies, proactive engagement to solicit and incorporate customer feedback. That is extremely critical and crucial. And by combining AI-driven insights with proactive approach to adaptation, e-commerce businesses can create authentic, meaningful experiences that involve really kind of everything, with changing customer preferences in such a dynamic and diverse landscape.
Melissa, let's kick it to you. Give me one tangible way, like one way AI can truly scale personalization. Because, it's funny to think that personalization without AI is old school personalization.
Yeah.
But give me like one tangible way AI can actually do this and scale personalization.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, again, like Corey, thanks everybody for joining us today. I think as AI allows us to really do things at a different level, right? As you talk about the old ways of segmentation, it's easy to identify, first-time buyers, perhaps, or somebody who hasn't purchased in a year. And those are sort of the standard types of segmentation. But I think now, given the vast amount of data that AI can really quickly go through, you can create really targeted segments. So understanding somebody maybe who has purchased twice and is lapsing in their engagement with your site, or maybe things like your emails from a different channel, you can send them down a really targeted journey to capture their attention. And so I think by having more specific segmentation available to you about including all the different ways from customer behavior and engagement, you can really build out additional ways to target those customers through various channels to re-engage them at scale that wasn't previously available.
And Corey, back to you. There's always we always contend with the striking that that right balance between automation, which is so helpful and so cool, but also maintaining the human touch. I do know, using a tool like ChatGPT, you gotta give it the human once over. You have to, or you'll be in trouble, probably branding wise and all that. So, can you share some insights? On how businesses can leverage AI to personalize customer interactions while still ensuring it's authentic, and it's meaningful.
Yeah, for sure. This is really good because humanization is not going anywhere, right? And it needs to be at the forefront of businesses. AI-driven technologies present a vast opportunity to elevate online shopping experiences by tailoring interactions to individual customer preferences. To maintain authenticity amidst automation, businesses can implement AI as a facilitator rather than a replacement for human touch points. That's really kind of the way that I think about it, that I look at it in all the research that I've done. So one approach is to utilize AI for personalized recommendations, predictive analytics for understanding customer needs, and chatbots for instant assistance. However, the key lies in that kind of embedding empathy and emotional intelligence into these interactions, right? So if you message a chatbot and it responds back to you, it's probably not going to give you too much empathy. It's not going to give you too much of that deep understanding. So customizing AI algorithms to understand and respond to nuances to customer behavior and preferences can help recreate that human touch virtually, providing seamless transitions, really kind of from AI-driven interactions to human representatives when complex or emotionally charged situations arise, can ensure genuine and meaningful connections. I think businesses that really do blend the efficiency of AI with human-centric approach can strike the right balance, right? They're fostering trust and deeper engagement with customers in the online shopping realm. And with us all in a virtual world now, that's extremely critical. So it's kind of, again, it is that balancing act, but that's really where I see that kind of trust and that deeper engagement with customers.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to add just a point there. I think it helps you identify a spot in which a human might be necessary, right? So you can set these sort of triggers and levers to say, this is a high value customer or has the potential to be a high value customer. And I see that they might be churning because of lack of engagement. I might want a sales rep per se to go in and approach this contact directly, and that intervention where you are steps ahead of the customer and their ultimate final decision allows you to really understand the situation and address their needs from the human side. So I completely agree, Corey.
Yeah, no, and so just to put a little pin in that too, with Dotdigital, there's obviously the chatbot that you can have on directly your site. And I do think, and not that we're only picking on chatbots and the way that chats work, but yeah, having those algorithms is extremely important. Knowing like those specific keywords that's like, hey, it's time to humanize this. It's time to have somebody jump into this and chat a little bit because you're about to lose this customer. So yeah, we're definitely on the same page for that. No AI with us here.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? How you it's your most important hire of all time, an AI bot, chatbot, AI into e-commerce, because it's like, how much would you vet a human being if that human being was going to fill a job description that said, I am going to work for you 24/7 in every single country, right?
Yeah.
Like you would vet that human being to the max. So you have to vet the AI bot too, because it's speaking for your brand 24/7. So, hey, let's talk about AI's impact on efficient operations, right? Let's start with Melissa on this one. So, when you're looking at AI's impact on efficient operations, what are some of the ways AI can enhance that creative process?
Yeah,
First,
it's really interesting the way that you started the slide there, because when I think about using AI, an easy way to get into it is to use it like your personal assistant. So use it as somebody who's going to work for you 24/7 and ask it questions to get started, right? But when I think about from a marketer's perspective, creating content or writing kind of the same types of campaigns over and over, I think AI can really help you to get creative and to try something new. So they might provide suggestions for you, writing different types of subject lines, for instance, where that might take an individual hours worth of time. You can use AI to generate ideas that give you the not blank sheet of paper to start from. And I think elements like that can really enhance a marketer's job as opposed to, taking over the marketer's job. It gives you some additional ideas that lets you save time.
Yeah, I think if I could just put like a personal aspect to that too, for me, I've used like AI type tools to generate some content for me here and there. And, in certain situations, I remember one time I was just asked about doing a bio for myself for a presentation that I was doing. And when I wrote it, I was like, all right, this looks good. And then I put it into like a chat GPT aspect or some sort of AI thing. And it wrote it out. And I was like, wow, I am amazing. Like this makes me sound fantastic. So yeah, it's to add on to it, like it just gives you like different ways, right? I think as us as humans, sometimes we, subconsciously we're kind of straightforward. We're just doing something the same way almost every single time. But I think where AI comes into that is it challenges it a little bit. It challenges that status quo, but also kind of makes sure that it's facilitating it from a behavioral basis. So it's kind of like almost flourishing something in essence.
Yeah. You want to know how good it made me look on my LinkedIn profile? Just go and check it out. I am stunning. But I do put a little thing on my profile that says, this is AI, by the way. So I don't want you to be jarred if you watch one of my LinkedIn lives and see the stunning transformation back to being a human. Efficiency, like we're talking about efficient operations here, and let's kick this to Corey, especially for merchandisers, efficiency is so crucial and for e-commerce success and marketers too, of course, trying to keep up with these customer experiences, changing all the time. So the question to Corey is, how can these AI-driven tools really help streamline operations and decision-making processes? I know marketers would want that. Enabling, how do they enable merchandisers and marketers to really respond quickly to market trends and changing customer behaviors, you think?
Yeah, AI tools serve as invaluable assets for e-commerce operations, offering a pivotal role in enhancing efficiency and responsiveness to evolving market trends and customer behaviors. These tools leverage predictive analytics to analyze vast data sets swiftly, providing merchandisers and marketers, right, with actionable insights into customer preferences, purchasing patterns, and emerging market trends. By employing AI algorithms, I think of it as like businesses can automate and optimize various tasks, including inventory management, dynamic pricing adjustments, and personalized marketing campaigns. Additionally, AI facilitates real-time decision-making by swiftly processing and interpreting data, allowing merchandisers and marketers to make informed decisions promptly. I think with AI-driven tools, really they can adapt swiftly to market changes, ensure that their strategies align with the latest trends and customer behaviors, ultimately enhancing their competitiveness, right, in a very competitive landscape in retail and B2B and so forth, so on, and success in kind of a dynamic e-commerce landscape.
Yeah, and back to Melissa, looking at levels here of expertise and skill sets. I mean, I think you see sort of some differences between how AI can help, improve operational tasks at a junior and a senior level. So you're seeing kind of a way it can have impact on, depending on where you are in the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, for somebody that's in maybe a junior role who's developing content, building marketing campaigns, you can use AI to generate new ideas. You can use it to expand copy, right? So starting with an idea and have it add to or even shorten. Actually, we just implemented this in our platform where you can take an email campaign and build an SMS message with a click. And so if I think about targeting a customer on multiple channels, but creating, consistent branding and messaging, how much time that saves to have both of those done, right at the same time. So from a junior level, I think there's a lot of things that can be done with generative, also as well as just copywriting and basic spell checks and editing, making sure that things are accurate and consistent to your brand. If I think at perhaps a higher level where you're focused more on the analysis and the impact of your marketing efforts and the business as a whole, I think it really comes down to the analysis and the speed at which you can review vast amount of data and have the results. I think the key there, though, to remember is to be able to ask the right questions, right? The AI tools can generate a lot of data, generate analysis really quickly, but you need to make sure that you're asking for the right questions from which you want to solve. Otherwise, you're stuck with a piece of data or an answer to a question that you might not actually be trying to solve for. So again, coming back to that sort of human element, knowing what the business priorities and objectives are, and then leveraging the analysis and the data to get to decisions faster.
Cool. I want to move on to predictive insights. We all know we want those and certainly help. And Corey, by the way, before I kick this question, you're getting some props, man, on your holiday background there. So it's all good. It's all good. Good job.
I felt festive today, so
yes.
Why not, right? Throw the lights on.
Yeah, you even got a request to play a tune on a piano, so that's it in the audience chat. They're all excited. So.
I have some guitars on the other side too. We'll do a whole thing. I'll do a one-man band show after.
We'll add it to the on-demand version of this webinar that we're going to send out to you, everybody, in an email. So look for that. All right, so let's get down to predictive insights and AI's impact. So, of course, they're becoming increasingly vital for e-commerce businesses. These insights to anticipate customer needs and preferences, get ahead of the game kind of thing. So, Corey, can you share some actual real-world examples? I love to hear of how AI-driven predictive analytics have empowered e-commerce companies, to make these data-driven decisions that improve CX, increase sales. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I do have a good example of it too, but predictive insights powered by AI have proven to be transformative for e-commerce businesses, offering a glimpse into the future of like customer behaviors and preferences. One striking example involves personalized recommendations. So this is something within the Adobe Commerce platform. This is powered through Adobe Sensei, the product recs, and as well as our live search type aspect. And AI-driven predictive analytics analyze vast data sets to forecast what customers might purchase next based on their browsing history, past purchases, and even behaviors of similar shoppers. This precision enables e-commerce platforms to curate tailored product suggestions, right? For instance, and significantly boosting customer engagement and sales, right? Total cart, etc. Additionally, predictive analytics, I think of it as they help optimize inventory management, preventing stockouts or excess inventory by forecasting demand accurately. For instance, companies like Amazon, right? We all use them. They leverage predictive analytics to implement anticipatory shipping, sending products to different distribution centers near customers before they even place an order, right? That ensures faster delivery. That's why you're getting it same day. That's why you're getting it in 2 days, and so forth, so on. These real world applications highlight the power of AI-driven predictive analytics is not just meeting, but preempting customer needs and leading to improved experiences and increased sales for e-commerce businesses. And in a world that is, I want it now, it's delivering on that forefront.
And Melissa, where do you come in on this? Where predictive AI, can drive revenue for e-commerce merchants in particular?
Yeah, absolutely echoing all the things that Corey just said. And I think it's about anticipating, the micro moments, right? And this is where we're really getting into incremental revenue is, understanding when a customer's lifetime value is, understanding what their predicted next purchase date is, and then using that data to even accelerate or speed up that conversion, right? So if I set some sort of dynamic segment to understand, somebody with a predicted next purchase in 1 month or 60 days from now, and then send them through with an automation, including some personalized, tailored, product recommendations, I'm increasing the likelihood that that conversion is actually going to happen sooner. And so again, it's anticipating and being ahead of your customers as opposed to reacting once they've provided you that information. So I think there's really neat ways to set up flows and automations to create a life cycle that fits and is ahead of your customers, not behind.
Yeah, and I think if I can add on to that too, or not add on to it, but yeah, for sure. And I think for just beyond predictive too, there is also the factor of, and we might get to this, so apologize if we do, but it is also the fact of adapting, right? And at the moment in time to be able to do that. I think for most e-commerce businesses, almost every single one that I've spoken to, regardless of the size of the business, Fortune 500, et cetera, there's not enough bodies to do all the work. So
Sure.
ultimately what these types of tools do for like product recs and so forth, so on, and driven through AI, it's augmenting that behavior of customers and understanding what are trending, what are bestsellers, what are more explicit for that person versus this person, and so forth, so on, and being able to deliver that in real time almost as well. So predictive, absolutely. At the end of the day, I think everything is looking at it from a predictive side, but it also is allowing the AI tools to also augment too at the same time. So, but yeah, for sure.
Yep, that's exactly right. Right, those recommendations are real time based on what is actually happening versus what we think is going to happen. So it's great. It's a great one too.
Yeah.
And then there's also the accountability, though, right? Like how, Corey, let's start with you on this one. You know, how can businesses actually ensure that accuracy, the reliability of AI generated predictions? Because, you know, I'm using it a lot for my own interviews for editorial, right? Like, so I'm putting my own data in there. I know it's accurate. I have the backing to show that it's accurate. I'm not asking it for new insights. But with accuracy and reliability, that's a big issue. It's probably why a lot of our folks on the webinar today haven't really dove in yet, right? So what best practices should they follow to turn these insights into actual strategies that actually, you know, enhance CX, the CX journey, but also you can be comfortable knowing that it's accurate and reliable?
Yeah. So, man, I think, Dom, to hit on that, ensuring the accuracy and reliability of AI generated predictions is extremely paramount for businesses. I think when you're trying to thrive in such a marketplace saturated world, hopefully everybody kind of read between the lines a little bit there. But to do that the right way, you can't lose that trust. I speak about it often as, as you want your customers to be ambassadors of your brand. Doesn't matter if you are a manufacturer or whatever that might be. And I always use the example of like, you know, when you hear Nike, what do you think of? Everyone thinks of the swoosh, right? That's what you're thinking of. So I think that this is extremely important, but part of that is these AI generated aspects because it is a scary thing. It's something that's new. So first and foremost, it's establishing a robust data quality assurance process that is completely crucial. Businesses need to ensure that the data used for training AI models is comprehensive, up to date, and representative of a diverse customer behavior, validating the algorithms regularly against real-time data and adjusting them as needed helps maintain accuracy. I think furthermore, adopting a human in the loop approach, so we're kind of humanizing that again, where human experts review and validate AI generated predictions serves as an additional layer of assurance, improving the reliability of those types of insights. And regarding turning these insights into actionable strategies, it's essential to interpret AI generated predictions contextually and align them with overarching business goals, creating cross-functional teams that include data scientists, marketers, and customer experience experts foster collaboration. And I think ensure that the AI-driven insights, you know, are really translate into practical customer-centric strategies. And I think consistently iterating based on feedback and monitoring performance metrics enables businesses to be able to refine those strategies. And I think, again, it ensures genuine and genuinely enhance the customer journey really over time.
Melissa, I'm going to kick one more question over to you before we go to our final panel slide before our Q&A. We have some questions in there already. Thank you, everybody. That's awesome. I want to address one of the survey results that we took earlier. Not sure where to start. 17.25%. Talk to those 5 folks who answered that question. Where do they start? That's a huge, huge question.
Yeah. I think starting small is the best approach, and taking bite-sized chunks at a time, right? So when I think about back to sort of the earlier comment around a personal assistant, right? if I have a project that I'm working on, or I have a campaign that I'm working on, leveraging AI to help me generate ideas, then I start to trust, and then I start to leverage it to do that on a regular basis, right? And you just get some momentum with using the tools and the things to ask. I also think really focusing in on the prompts and the questions that you're asking, right? So if you're using some sort of open source, open AI tool, right, make sure that the questions that you're asking are really tailored, and you can ask it a different question or the same question in a different way and get a different result. And so I think by starting small, by just getting your hands in the platform, reading some results, that I think you'll start to gain some momentum. And then it's to build it into things for like a marketer, right? Trying out new subject lines maybe, or trying out different content and doing A/B testing to then build the confidence within your team and your leadership that leveraging these tools can really drive benefits, improve efficiencies, and then ultimately drive results.
All right. Happy holidays, everyone. It's officially here. We're in the middle of everything. So I'm sure some of you marketers and e-commerce folks out there are just thinking like, yeah, I'm way ahead of you, Dom. I've been thinking about this last couple of months for about 6 months. So let's talk about, the whole impact of AI on this 2023 holiday season. Happy birthday, ChatGPT. I mean, last year it really didn't kick in so much. This year, tools like ChatGPT and every kind of generative AI tool that you're using out there certainly has a big impact. So, let's go to Corey. And Corey, how can generative AI be employed to craft unique and engaging marketing campaigns for driving sales, but also creating those memorable and emotionally resonant experiences for shoppers during this special time of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. And I often get this where it's like AI is not going to do anything for this time of year. And I look at businesses and consumers and retailers and so forth, so on, in a multifaceted way. I look at it as a one-to-one experience, a one-to-many experience, a one-to-group experience, and a one-to-all experience, right? So I look at and differentiate businesses, and I kind of cut them up and slice them like that. So, the holiday season really presents a remarkable opportunity for businesses to leverage Gen AI in crafting exceptional and emotionally resonant marketing campaigns. I think Gen AI, known for its creativity and ability to produce unique content, can be a game changer in capturing the essence of the season and creating memorable experiences for shoppers. I think for merchants, by utilizing really Gen AI, marketers can generate diverse and personalized content. It's such as holidays themed visuals, personalized greetings, and tailored messages that resonates deeply with individual preferences. It's always that you can't make everybody happy. So I think AI bridges that gap in some aspect where you kind of can in a little bit of a way. So creating interactive and immersive experiences like augmented reality, VR, virtual reality, holiday showcases, it enables customers to engage more intimately with products and brands. And additionally, employing Gen AI for storytelling purposes can craft compelling narratives around holiday traditions or charitable initiatives, kind of fostering this emotional connection with shoppers. It's all about kind of that emotional connection. And it's about infusing the holiday spirit into marketing campaigns while ensuring, again, kind of going back to the authenticity and personalization, ultimately kind of driving that sales and leaving a lasting positive impression on customers during a kind of very festive period, no matter what holiday you kind of celebrate. And no matter when your peak season is, ultimately, we're talking about holiday season here, but whenever your peak season is, this is kind of goes into that.
Yeah. And, everything you said, there's a million other businesses trying to do the same thing, right? So how this is to Melissa now, how can customers, they're flooded with these marketing messages so much, it's overwhelming. How do merchants stand out during this busy period?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a period of high consumption, both in terms of the messages that we receive, the purchases that we might be making. I think there's a few different ways, right? So coming out of the mass of information that consumers are receiving, making sure it's tailored, making sure that it's personalized. I think, things like adding, emojis, right? We know stand out from like an email subject line perspective, right? Again, you get back to just things that stand out to customers throughout this period. I also think it's interesting because we end up buying a lot of times during this holiday season for other people, right? Maybe not for ourselves. And so things like the product recommendations that are can help a buyer who may be unfamiliar with a brand and maybe unfamiliar with the end user make an informed decision. And so the business can really leverage those tools to put forth the products that they know are best sellers or maybe similar to things that they're browsing, and that can really help them make a more informed decision. And then I can't mention, getting in front of customers and email without talking about deliverability. So deliverability being a key thing, making sure that that you're sending the messages at the right time. So something like send time optimization, right? This makes it easy for the marketer because you can generate one message and send it across the world, but make sure that it's getting to individuals at a time when they're most likely to open and engage with it. Biggest factor around deliverability is engagement, and so making sure consumers are opening and clicking those messages is really important. And then the multi-channel approach, right? So understanding is a consumer's preference to receive an email, or is it to receive a text message or an MMS message? And having that content ready to go, being able to decide the right message through the right channel to those contacts will really make sure that you stand out amongst the flood of festive information that we're getting at this time of period of year.
Cool. Well, I think we get some great holiday tips for our viewers. Thank you for those. And I think it's time to move on to the Q&A. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right. Yeah. And while you're asking the questions and answering and listening to our answers, you can see more information there. Adobe's got a nice ebook out there for you. Ignite your e-commerce marketing with AI. Good read. All right, let's get into the Q&A. And thanks everybody for taking the time today and asking questions. There's a lot in there, so we'll get to as many as we can in the final 10 minutes or so here. All right, so let's start with number one. So what is your key takeaway for viewers, starting to practice AI-powered marketing? I think Melissa talked a lot about this with getting started. Why don't we give Corey a chance to weigh in on, that the true starting point, to practice AI-powered marketing?
Yeah, I think Melissa nailed it on its head before. Don't look at it as a mountain, right? I mean, ultimately you're trying to get to the top, but how do you get up there? What places do you stop at? What are you going to look at? So take smaller bites, digest it a little bit. I know e-com is like drinking out of a fire hose. I understand that entirely. And I realize that AI powered is just kind of like the pressure that's even there even more. But ultimately, I think it's just about starting somewhere. As soon as you start somewhere. So for the survey that we started out, there was a lot of folks that said, we're already using it, but to some extent, to a little bit of extent. You know what? That's fantastic, guys. Give yourselves pats on the back because that's important. So I think going back to what, really what Melissa said, and not to just completely piggyback on her, but it's taking smaller bite sizes and looking at what will make that impact too, right? If you have static type recommendations right now, where does AI come into that component? Where does AI and how can AI, more importantly, how can AI advance that for you and enhance that experience and that exposure? So I think I'm not saying that that's the only example that I would use as like kind of that's your starting point is to do product recommendations. But honestly, it does fit a lot of businesses, and it fits a lot of businesses in such a, and I'm doing the air quotes here, and I know everybody could see me. So in an omni-channel experience, right? So in multi-channels, I'm saying omni-channel because it's subjective a little bit to each business. It's different, but ultimately from marketing campaign, whether it's email, whether it's text, whether it's carrier pigeons that are dropping something off for you, whatever that looks like for you, ultimately making sure that that is uniform too, I think is extremely important. So product recs is a good area to start. And the good news is that both for Adobe Commerce and Dotdigital, we got the tools for you.
Sweet. All right, let's move on to our next Q in our Q&A session here. So let's go to Melissa on this one, put you on the spot. Outside of your day-to-day work, what is a cool example you've seen of AI in action?
Ooh, good one. So last week, I was unfortunately looking for a new washer and dryer, which is not cool or fun, but I used it to try to summarize the vast amount of reviews to figure out which washer and dryer we might need to buy. So not fun, but necessary. If I think about a cool way, one of my a friend of mine from growing up actually is a computational scientist, and she applied her job to being a parent. As a mom to two young girls, there are lots of problems and challenges that we go through on a daily basis. And she put in a question around bedtime, and she was struggling to get her little one to bed. And so she wrote a prompt to get a bedtime story for her son that involved like brushing his teeth and doing all the necessary things that he needed to do. And it like wrote and told a story that like got him excited to go to bed. So it's like a parent's dream. So yeah, I think using it in fun ways like that is just really exciting and useful for sure.
That's tailored. That's personalized. That's you're putting it into actions. Everything we've talked about today, it's coming to fruition.
That's right.
Predictive. Everyone's thinking about the next year at this time of year, right? You know, so Corey, let's go to you on this next one. People want to know what's coming next for AI. What do you think the big developments are going to be in 2024?
So this is it's a really good question, and it's something that I often ask myself, and that I'm often doing research around. I think for me as a strategist and a consultant for merchants, it's extremely important to do that. Honestly, what's coming next is really kind of just what's currently out there and enhancing that. So it's voice type things, it's voice commerce, it's doing things like inserting text where again you don't need so much manual and humanization around it too. I also think it's anything that's part of data, right? We didn't touch on it too much, but when you're thinking about cookies going away and all that, how do we look at like real-time type of customer data profiles and so forth, so on, and how does that start looking, and how does that start enhancing that? So I think for AI, it's being able to understand behaviors and again categorically, as well as businesses too. So I think I wish that I could tell you, and I wish I was a fortune teller to say this is what's going to be next for AI. But honestly, at the end of the day, if you think about AI as it is as kind of just artificial intelligence, ultimately, I promise you one thing: it's going to change, right? Ultimately, that's what it does. So it will change and it's going to augment. And I think for what those new functions and new features of Gen AI and so forth, so on, and predictive AI, I think ultimately at the end of the day, it depends on what the trends are. It depends on what us as consumers, us as retailers, us as merchandisers, us as marketers, us as anything that is part of the retail landscape, it's what we deem it to be necessary and what's next for that phase of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, Dom's mentioned it's the birthday of GPT. It's really only been accessible for folks for a year, right? And it's going to continue to become more accessible. You're going to continue to see it show up in different platforms and technologies. And so it's to a degree, like the buzz around it has died down, but I think that's because it's normalized. And so I think we'll continue to see it evolve throughout different tools and technologies that we use. That's only going to, empower us to make better decisions faster and to be more efficient, and spend our time, our human limited time, solving the problems that we need to solve, and letting the technology support us in that. So it's exciting.
All right, let's go with one more question from the Q&A, and this one it's a nice one because it kind of wraps everything up. And we'll go with Corey on this. How can you ensure AI is providing shoppers with quality experiences? Simple question, big question though.
So yeah, and I touched on it. I think we both kind of touched on it before, but it is still inserting the humanization to this. It is as much as and my previous experience, I worked on the agency side. I've been with Adobe for 5 years, but before that, I worked on the agency side for over a decade, working with merchants. And honestly, I mean, you still need to kind of put the humanization into this, and it's not where you just kind of eliminate it. And as much as I would love to say it's a set it and forget it once you have AI in place, it is not a set it and forget it. It is not. It is still something that you need to kind of be part of. So that quality experience, it's looking at your data, it's making sure your data is accessible. So that's the most critical piece to it too. So I do work with a lot of businesses that data is siloed in so many different areas. It's about making sure all that flows together and to make sure that they have that unified experience, from their marketing campaigns to their on-site aspect to even what they are shipped. We're not talking too much about, when you receive your goods and everything like that, but that's still part of that experience. And AI might not play too much into when it's actually on your doorstep, but up to that point of during that whole virtual transition, making sure that that is unified, I think is extremely important. And I think, again, human touch points along the way. It's coaching it. You are the leader. You have your team behind you, which is that AI tool.
All right. Well, there's a lot of takeaways from this discussion. Appreciate it very much. One for me is I'm going to use AI now to encourage my 18-year-old boy to find a way to actually pour the cereal into the bowl instead of all over the counter. I mean, I'm at a loss. I can't do it. I'm turning to AI.
I'm confident.
we appreciate everyone's time. Sorry if we didn't get to your Q in the Q&A, but you'll have a way to touch base with us going forward. We'll be in touch with you with an email and a link to an on-demand version of this webinar. So, get in touch with us if you feel like you have something burning questions, and we apologize if we ran out of time and didn't get to yours. You can listen to the on-demand version share with your colleagues and friends. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you to sponsor Adobe for partnering with CMS Wire on this one. And, of course, the great chat and discussion with Corey and Melissa. Have a great holiday season, everyone. Bye, Corey and Melissa.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye.
You too.